changes on the way in Dallas. One of their former quarterbacks thinks they should be, and he's not just talking about the guy under center now. Plus, what a way to kick off Week 10. Panthers and Steelers on Thursday Night Football. We've got the latest from both cities straight ahead. We've also got the latest on this guy, who, as far as we know, isn't in either of those cities and probably will not be a part of this game. The saga continues.
Bom, bom.
And NFL Total Access starts dramatically right now. Lindsay Rhodes alongside Scott Hanson. Special guest Aqib Talib on the way here in studio.
Yeah, but we start the show with two critical countdowns for the Pittsburgh Steelers. 2 days until that huge game against the Carolina Panthers. 1 week until the deadline for Le'Veon Bell. Aditi Kinkawala with the latest from Pittsburgh.
Scott, Le'Veon Bell teased with that tweet last night, but in this building, no one was biting. Nothing has changed since September. No one I spoke to said he'd heard from Bell, nor did they know anyone who had. No one had any idea whether Bell expects to report by next Tuesday, the deadline if he hopes to play this season. And everyone echoed what guard David DeCastro said. We just don't care anymore. Now, it's a very real possibility that Bell may not play this entire season. He does not need to play to avoid being tagged with the same number he was tagged with this year. If the Steelers do want to tag him next year, it will have to be at that higher rate based on quarterback salaries. So now, will we see Bell? He's already walked away from $8 million of that $14.5 million franchise tag. He definitely won't be coming in football shape. A year ago, it took him a full month. He won't immediately be installed as this team's starter. The Steelers, from Ben Roethlisberger on, have said they expect James Conner to continue in his starring role. And Bell is still seeking a big contract next year. As one of his teammates said to me earlier today, wouldn't it be better for him to let last year's tape speak for him as opposed to what he can do in a limited role if he shows up now? And so, as the Steelers prepare for in this short week for the Panthers in this big matchup, the Steelers largely said what they've been saying. We don't have the time or the energy to worry about Bell.
Well, on top of all the contractual maneuvering, there's the fact that Bell's replacement, James Conner, has really outproduced Bell and is on pace to pass Bell's career bests. Conner on pace for more rushing yards, be within 100 receiving yards, and almost double Bell's scrimmage touchdowns for a fraction of the cost.
We've got a really good Thursday night matchup. Carolina Panthers taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
A couple of good running backs.
Some really good running backs in this game.
I've got a great one right here. Reggie Bush, Sean O'Hara. Let's take a deeper dive into this running back matchup here. Christian McCaffrey versus James Conner. Now, James Conner, obviously, everybody talks about his rushing ability, how physical he is, but let's talk about him as a receiver right here.
Yeah,
and tell us what we're looking at right here, Reggie.
You got these two receivers at the bottom of the screen that are going to clear it out for James Conner, who's going to come underneath on a crossing route, and this tight end right here is going to create a pick route on this linebacker, and this is great route concept and design to get the ball in space.
All right, here we see the play unfold right here. There's the clear out routes by the two receivers. Right here, boom, boom. All right, tight ends, little pick play right here.
You got guys running all into each other up here. This is such a great route concept and design for running back because what you want to do is be able to get the ball to your playmakers in space. James Conner has proven himself to be one of the best playmakers on this football team.
When James Conner catches this ball, there's really one guy that can make this tackle right here, and it's Eric Weddle, and he wants none.
He don't want no part of this. He's running right through him, setting the tone for the football game, letting those guys know that every time you come to hit me, this is what you're going to get.
That's what's called finishing a run right there. I love it, James Conner. All right, how about this one? This is just a little arrow route right here and a little slant by AB.
Just a speed out and a slant route by AB. But I think what's interesting on this play is that Ben passes up the slant route, which he usually throws a lot, to throw it to James Conner.
Yeah, usually this ball is coming right here to AB, but instead a nice little throw here to Conner. And look at the way he just extends the hands right. I mean, this ball is caught out away from the body. He doesn't let it get up against his chest, so a good job of him using his hands
and that's what natural pass catchers do. They catch the football with their hands, soft hands, as coaches like to say, but just a great job by him.
All right, now here we are, 3rd and 5. Now this, we saw him catch the football just there on 2 plays, but in the passing game, This is one of the biggest aspects every running back's going to have to deal with. Third down, can you step up in the hole and block a blitzer? Now, this is what James Conner, I think, does better than Le'Veon Bell right here. Look at him seal this pocket right here and help out his O-line and protect Big Ben.
I mean, just a ton of space right there. You can't ask for a better pass protection from your running back. Ben has peace of mind right now. He's not flustered at all. He has a lot of time and a great window to throw the football to Antonio Brown right here.
3rd and 5, you're converting. I love what James Conner's bringing to the table. Yes, he's a physical force. He's finishing runs. He's got great hands. He can step up in pass protection. He's going to need that against Carolina Panthers. There's only 3 defenses that blitz more than Carolina, so you know those linebackers are going to be up there in the A-gap. Can't wait to watch James Conner and what he brings to this offense of the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Carolina Panthers.
Steelers riding a 4-game win streak largely because of what that guy's been doing. Panthers have won 3 straight. They've been doing a lot of things well also. Cam, McCaffrey, and the defense all clicking lately. In fact, the latter's only allowed 5 rushing touchdowns all year. So they will make things tough for Conner. And for more on how, we turn to Tiffany Blackman in Charlotte.
Several of the Panthers players said they feel like this Thursday night's game is a statement game for them. And quarterback Cam Newton feels like this team is really coming together. He said he learned from an old wise man that harmony is everything, chemistry is everything, and that he's starting to see this team mesh and link perfectly. And that's a testament to the guys in that locker room and their head coach, Ron Rivera.
His beliefs in people, his loyalty to people is something that I've never seen probably in a coach. You know, sometimes he gives me an extra boost because, you know, the way he's talking with so much affirmation and firmness of, you know, you're this, you're that, you know, go out there and do this and do that. And you listening to it like, that's how you feel? Coach? All right, well, hell, I can run through this wall for you. You know what I'm saying? It just gives you so much confidence.
That confidence was evident in the Panthers' comeback win against the Eagles. And when they were down 17-0 in the 3rd quarter, well, linebacker Luke Kuechly told me that Coach Rivera came to them and said, we need to get more stops, and the offense is going to score. Kuechly told me that his coach being so even-keeled and having that calming presence has really helped this team.
Can't wait for this one. Maybe the best game of the week, and it is right around the corner. Thursday Night Football on NFL Network, Fox, and Prime Video. As for the last game of Week 9, that was a 28-14 win for the Titans, who doubled up the Dallas Cowboys at the Star and did so largely because of a couple of costly turnovers by the Cowboys quarterback, who threw a pick in the end zone and lost a fumble. Both turnovers resulted in Titans touchdowns, but did not result in a loss of support by the Cowboys owner.
Dak is the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. He's young, and he's going to get extended. I think Dak is capable. I didn't know that 2 years ago, but he is capable of looking at what situation was last night, looking at a throw like he made in the back of the end zone for the interception. You don't have anybody that's more capable to look at that and take it to the practice field and take it to learn from that for the next ball game.
So Jerry Jones still a fan, but there are things his staff could learn from, perhaps, with regard to Dak's usage. He threw the ball 31 times last night, and he hasn't had a lot of success this season when he's done that. 0-3 when he attempts 30 or more passes this season, 4-6 last season. Numbers are not flattering, but are they all his fault? Doesn't sound like Troy Aikman thinks so.
It hasn't always mattered who the head coach has been. And so to me, if you're asking me, I'd say there has to be a complete overhaul of the entire organization. You just can't simply replace head coaches and say, now it's going to be better. No, it's been shown that it's not better.
A complete overhaul of the organization. Mike Garafolo, he could not be talking about what I think he's talking about, could he?
I mean, what he's talking about is Jerry Jones ceding his role as general manager, Stephen Jones, whatever. I mean, that's a complete overhaul. That's when you talk about, let's say, any other team where the owner doesn't serve as general manager. You're talking about changing the guy that coaches the team on the field and the coaches, pulls the players together as general manager. I don't see Jerry Jones doing that anytime soon. I could see a change at the head coach position as we head into the offseason. It seems right now that Jerry Jones does not want to make an in-season change. Now, he did make that before with Wade Phillips, and that resulted in Jason Garrett being the head coach in the middle of the season. I just don't get the sense he wants to do that right now. And I'll tell you this, Jason Garrett is trying to keep it as normal as possible inside the building on work days. Even after the game last night, he was hanging out in the laundry room that they have there at the stadium with some folks after the game. It's a social area that they have for coaches and staff members after the game. So he's just trying to keep it as normal as possible and just trying to coach this team. We'll see what's happening with him as we get down into the stretch here and beyond.
3-5, the Cowboys' worst start to a season since 2015, and the next team on the schedule for them is the defending champs in Philadelphia. Thank you very much, Mike.
Well, when there's big drama in Big D, it's all hands on deck. We've already heard from Reggie and Sean.
Where's JR?
Super Bowl champion Reggie Wayne joins us right now. Troy Aikman, guys.
Troy Aikman with the little,
Troy Aikman,
right there.
little cowboy on cowboy crime here. Says blow the whole thing up. The entire organization needs
Complete
an
opposite
overhaul.
of what Irv was saying.
Okay, how much?
Total 180.
How high should it go on the ladder? You got players, coaches, general managerial position. How high?
Owners. Owners, right? It may be time for Jerry Jones to relinquish some of that decision making and bring in just another football mind, and that's okay. That's not a shot at Jerry Jones, but I also think they need a new head coach. Jason Garrett has been very average over the course of his career. He's 70-58 in 9 seasons. He only has 1 playoff win in those 9 years. So to me, it says that the players are not responding to him. Look at the way that they handled the Zeke situation last year. Now you look at how Mike Tomlin has handled, you compare that and look at how Mike Tomlin has handled the Le'Veon Bell situation this year, and that to me is where good coaching is really vital, because good coaching can help and just really even out everything for everybody.
How high, fellas?
See, I took Troy's comment as saying you can change the coaches all you want, but unless something above that changes, you're going to get the same result.
Get the same result.
And it was almost kind of like he was vouching for Jason Garrett without really throwing anybody else under the bus.
What's your opinion? What's your opinion?
I think they have all the right people in the building.
Okay.
I think, if anything, Jason Garrett needs to be more involved in this offense. And to me, there's enough smart guys in that building. They can figure it out. This offense goes through Zeke Elliott. It doesn't go through Dak Prescott. And the fact that the Cowboys are in the turmoil that they're in is merely because they have lost their identity. They lost their way. They're the puppy, Scott. They lost his way. And I think until they find out that, listen, we got to get that guy to football. 2 years ago, he led the league in rushing. All right, he's got 28 less touches this year already. And in this game last night, Weezy, I'm looking at saying, how does this man only touch the ball 6 times in the second half? In a one-score game, the kicker hits the upright. They come back and they throw 3 straight passes. 2 of them ended up being sacks. And Zeke didn't touch the ball in that next possession. That's a crime.
All right, well, let's talk about throwing passes. Because Dak Prescott got the vote of confidence from Jerry Jones. You just heard him say, not only is he my guy, we're going to extend him. Not like I want to see him the rest of the year, but no, he's going to get that second contract is what Jerry's saying.
I think Jerry needs to take a step back. I think he's talking a little prematurely right now. Now Dak Prescott has a young Pro Bowl wide receiver. He has a young Pro Bowl running back. He has a top 10 offensive line. Now you can finish this season out and see how Dak Prescott finished this year up. Because right now, this is not the same Dak Prescott we saw in 2016. Started out 13-3. Now he's 25-15.
Third down's a little bit longer now.
Exactly. I just think you just need to take a step back and really take the rest of the season to evaluate Dak Prescott, because right now he's struggling with accuracy. He's looking like he's struggling with decision making. I think all that to one bend, with Dak Prescott, and it's showing us an average to below average quarterback.
And I feel like it's unfair to Dak Prescott to bring Amari Cooper in halfway through the season and say, okay, now Dak, there's no more excuses for you, because it takes time.
That's why you take the rest of the season. That's why you take the rest of the season and see how it goes. But listen, you said it. There's no more excuses. You got everything at your disposal. Now it's time for you to elevate your play.
But that chemistry takes time, though.
It does.
A little bit more bad news as well. Sean Lee suffered the injury yesterday in Monday Night Football. He's been in and out with all kinds of different injuries. They say he's going to miss some time with the hamstring injury. Good news, they're 2 games under 500, but they're only 2 games out of first place in that bunched-up NFC East.
Bounce back from this 24-hour rule, move on to Seattle, which is a divisional opponent. No team that we'd rather play coming off a loss than Seattle at home in the Coliseum. So we're looking forward to it. Coach is fired up. Pretty sure when we go back to work, he's going to have a lot of stuff for us. I'm super excited to come back to work. Defense is, offense is, we're all ready.
More on this one with Aqib Talib with us here in studio. How would you describe this locker room in the wake of that loss?
We're fine.
Yeah.
The good thing about it is everyone in that locker room has lost a game before, you know, so it's not like it's foreign to us. No one knows how to handle a loss or anything. So you come to work Wednesday and you prepare just like you do as you win a game.
I was struck by the tone of Sean McVay's comments immediately after the game when he addressed the media. Some coaches handle losses a little bit differently. They might go through the laundry list of all of the things that you did poorly as ways to motivate the team. He does not seem to go about that. He's very much like you, where like, we're fine, it's fine, we'll learn from this, we'll move forward, but very upbeat. How does his, the way that he responds influence the way that the rest of the locker room does?
He gives us his perspective of the game. Like, we was down 35-14 at one point in that game, and we all been around and seen teams on TV who were just throwing the towel at that point, man. But we came back and tied that ball game up, you know. So that just show you what kind of team we are right there, you know. So he always look at the positives out of the wins, the losses, whatever, you know. So that's kind of what we got out of it. We seen how hard we fought, and a few plays at the end of the game, and it could have been a different story.
It was a rough game for your boy Marcus Peters. I saw you on the sideline talking to him during the game. We all did. What kinds of things were you telling him?
Just stay positive. I mean, they like, you watch it on TV. They show the 4 catches that they had against him. He played 60 plays, so it was 50 plays where he played great defense on them. You know what I'm saying? You get no recognition. That's part of being a cornerback in our league. Besides quarterback, I say we have the hardest job in the league. You know what I'm saying?
Because
it's a hard job.
Remember the plays where it doesn't work?
Yeah, one play and it's like you had a bad game, you know. And then Michael Thomas is a great receiver. He's following around the #1 receiver. Michael Thomas this week, Devontae Adams last week. So, I mean, his plate is full every week. So we believe in MP. We know what he can do. And until I get back, he's going to keep on following around the #1 receiver.
Oh, when are you going to get back? I'm glad you brought that up.
I had a great visit with the doctor today, and it's looking like after Thanksgiving, I should be full speed, ready to go.
After Thanksgiving, okay. I'm going to mark that on my calendar.
Mark that, Lindsay.
Are we like taking steps? Are we running? Are we doing anything?
I'm moving good. I'm running. I'm bounding. I'm jumping. I'm lifting. So just got to get in 100% healthy.
Are you dying to get back out on the field?
I'm dying to get back out there. It's hard to watch it. I almost not even like going to the game and watching it from the sideline. It's just irritating to watch it like that. So I'm itching to get back. I'll be back though.
All right. Well, we can't wait for that. But in the meantime, it's fun having you here with us. He'll be in a studio with us for the rest of the show.
Show.
All right, time now for a look at this week's FedEx Air and Ground nominees. Starting with the Air, Pat Mahomes, kind of a fixture on this list. A career-high 375 yards and 3 touchdowns. Drew Brees, Aqib, plug your ears. Drew Brees, 4 touchdowns and 137 passer rating in that win over the Rams. Matt Ryan, 350 and 4 touchdowns at Washington. Reggie Wayne, who you like?
That's right, Aqib. Put your hands over your ears. I got to go with Drew Brees. This guy went up against the big bag wolf in the Los Angeles Rams, and he was victorious. He took it to him, gave him everything he had, 346 yards, 4 touchdowns, and didn't even have a sack from 4 first-rounders up front on that D-line. Drew Brees, you are my guy. Scott?
All right, as for the ground nominees, Melvin Gordon, $113 and a touchdown, and the Chargers win in Seattle. James Conner went over 100 on 24 attempts in the win against Baltimore. And Kareem Hunt, 2 touchdowns and 91 rushing yards. Our running back, Reggie Bush, cast his vote for...
James Conner is my FedEx Ground Player of the Week. He's brought in a ton of stability at a crucial time for the Pittsburgh Steelers. One of the most impressive things that he's done is beat cancer to get to this point right now. James Conner has been lights out. He's given them a lot of production that Le'Veon Bell has done at the same time. And James Conner is my FedEx Ground Player of the Week. Back to you, Scott.
Here, very inspirational off the field as well. Okay, there are your FedEx Air and Ground nominees. Fans, we want to hear from you. Go to NFL.com. Cast your vote for the FedEx Air and Ground winner. and we will announce it after Thursday Night Football on NFL Total Access.
In the top spot, they are down 3 spots to number 4, while last week's 4 is up 3-1. That is the Saints, followed by the Pats at 2, Chiefs at 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're all the same as last week with a new number 9. That is the Bears, up 1 spot after their win over the Bills. Texans at 10, Redskins dropping out after their loss to the Falcons. So that is the way that Elliot Harrison sees things right now. Cynthia Freeland sees things a little differently because she's looking through a prism of cold, hard data. There is no gut feeling involved here, but there are more numbers than I know what to do with, so thankfully she does. What she's done, and stop me if I'm wrong, is used past production to predict future production. And these are the playoff probabilities that she's come up with on the NFC side, where there are 2 teams with especially good chances and a pretty big drop-off, with about 5 teams huddled up in the 58 to 49% range. Packers at 58. That feels notable, Cynthia, considering that they are 3rd in the NFC North right now. How did you come up with that?
3rd in the NFC North, but they're going to slide into 4th overall, meaning they win the NFC North, because if you're looking at their schedule going forward, they're favored in every single one of their games in my model, except for one, and that's Minnesota, and that one's essentially a coin flip. But there's 4 games left that they have where they're over 70% favorites, including, sorry, Reggie Wayne, this week hosting the Dolphins.
We'll see about that. Let's go, Brock.
Just taking down your hot take. Another team that isn't currently leading its division that you seem to be predicting will at the end of the season is the Eagles. 18% more probable to make the playoffs than the team at the top of the division right now in Washington. Why is that?
Well, Elliot Harrison dropped him out of his top 10. I'm totally with him on this one. That loss last week at home against Atlanta, which was not predicted by my model. My model predicted the opposite, was huge. Minus 10.5 projection points in that one, and they lost a lot of pieces on their O-line. O-lines are extremely important for predicting future success. I think Sean O'Hara will like that one, and that's a big difference in this one.
All right, let's see what the AFC looks like. Chiefs, Pats, both 99% likely to make the playoffs. Then it's the Texans at 62. That's a pretty big drop. Steelers, Chargers, Ravens, Bengals, Jags, and then another big drop off at 9 from 49% to 17% for the Colts. So it looks like this is really an 8-team race here. How much did the results of the Steelers-Ravens game influence where those 2 teams landed?
Oh, that one was huge. That dropped everything down. So now the Ravens were ahead. Now the Steelers are ahead, and the Ravens and Bengals are now kind of fighting for that last slot, 0.2 of a point separating them. That's going to be a huge difference. In 2 weeks they play each other. But we were looking at this week. You look at the Steelers. The Steelers are they still have already had both of their meetings with Cincinnati, and Cincinnati still has to face the Ravens at home and at Ravens home.
You have the Jaguars out of the playoffs right now. I think they're number 8 in the AFC. But I think you could look at this one of 2 ways. You've got them at 49%, so that's not good, but they're also still a coin flip to make the playoffs.
Well, look at what happens this week. They go up to Indianapolis, and that will be a huge difference maker. My model projects that they win, meaning that will shift the whole piece in the AFC.
All right, Cynthia Freeland, there is a reason for all of the numbers that she has attached to your team, and for more on what those reasons are, you can go to NFL.com/Freeland. That's F-R-E-L-U-N-D. In the meantime, Michael Fabiano's got your waiver wire targets for the week. Don't listen, because we're playing next week.
NFL Network Studios, it's election night 2018. I am your moderator, Scott Hanson. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Pleased to be joined by 2 men who have dedicated their lives to public service. Candidate Wayne, candidate Bush.
And to politics. Yeah.
Yes, thank you for joining us. These 2 men making closing arguments as votes are being cast across the country. And as polls are closing across the nation, we are pleased to be joined by an undecided voter live here in the studio representing both L.A. City and L.A. County. Mr. Aqib Talib is joining us, an undecided voter who will be listening to the final arguments of both of these men. Here's the way it's going to work here this evening. By the way, I would ask the live studio audience to keep it down to a minimum, as we do not want to sway anyone watching on national television. Gentlemen, you have 45 seconds, 22.5 seconds each to be precise, to make your argument on some of the hot topics of the day. Mr. Talib, you will announce who you are voting for based on the better argument. First up, It's a time of change in the United States.
Yes, it
Which team is most in need of change, candidate Bush?
I'm so glad you asked me that question, Scott. The Dallas Cowboys are in need of change right now.
Yes.
Jason Garrett has been very average over the course of his 9-year career, 70 and 58. You don't replace Jason Witten with a tight end. You don't replace Des Bryant until halfway through the season with Amari Cooper. But yet somehow you expect more production from your quarterback, and that is unfair.
Time is yours.
Candidate Bush, I think you forgot what's going on out there in the NFC East. But on the other side, in New York, the New York Giants, they desperately need change. They're 1-7. Last year, they were 1-8. They are fighting for the second pick of the draft for 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row. They need change.
Time is up. I will ask Mr. Talib. Your vote goes to?
My vote goes to Reggie Bush.
One vote for candidate Bush.
Let's go.
Very
Let's
good.
go.
All right, at a time of conflict, a weary nation looks to the next generation. Who is your rookie of the year at this point?
Great question, Scott. Saquon Barkley. I'm going to keep it with New York Giants. Saquon Barkley is doing so much with less. He has 519 yards rushing. He has 497 yards receiving. He has a total of 1,016 yards, and everybody knows he's getting the ball, and he's still able to manage to get all those scrimmage yards by himself.
Are we really about to sit here and act like Calvin Ridley is not running away with this award right now? He is tied for second amongst all receivers with reception touchdowns, only behind Antonio Brown.
But he has help. He has help. He has a lot of help over there.
Please keep it civil, gentlemen.
He has Julio Jones. We all consider to be one of the top receivers. He has 6 more touchdowns.
The time is up, candidate Bush. Thank you. Mr. Talib, your vote
guys,
will go to?
I'm definitely voting Reggie. I'm definitely voting Reggie.
Okay, it's 2 Reggies.
More with less. I'm going Reggie Wayne. More with less.
Thank you, Mr. Talib, completely mocking the concept of secret ballot voting in the United States. Final topic, gentlemen. Only one player can sit in the most powerful seat in pro football. The MVP of the league will be?
Scott, great question.
The only type I ask.
My fellow Americans, the MVP award has always been a quarterback award. Drew Brees is the all-time passing leader. He's the all-time completion leader. He's in the 500 touchdown club, 1 more touchdown than Tom Brady, who we all consider to be the GOAT. He needs 3 more touchdowns
It's along with 20
to
seconds.
become second.
Your time.
Listen.
My bad.
Patrick Mahomes. You said quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. He has 8 300-plus passing yards in a row. He has, talk about records, he took down Peyton Manning for the most touchdowns in 3 weeks with 13. Patrick Mahomes in his second year, he is our guy. God bless America and no place else.
Hey, y'all make sure I go out and vote.
Passionate arguments. We have 1 vote for Bush, 1 vote for Wayne. The deciding vote, Mr. Talib.
I'm biased, guys.
What you got?
I'm voting Gurley. I'm voting TG. Just run the tape. Run the tape. I don't know the stats. I don't know nothing. Just run the highlights. I'm voting TG, baby. Run the highlight.
All right, well, technically it has to be one of these 2 gentlemen winning, and I will cast the deciding vote as a registered voter in the state of California for candidate Bush, only because his MVP candidate, Drew Brees, is a dead ringer for Rutherford B. Hayes. Google it. Google images. Drew Brees looks like Rutherford B. Hayes. Congratulations to one and all. God bless you, and God bless the United States.